President Donald Trump has now taken aim at Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon, saying they will be the next to go after Stephen Colbert's late-night exit. In a fiery Truth Social post, Trump wrote, "These are people with absolutely no talent. It's really good to see them go, and I hope I played a major part in it." Trump celebrated CBS's decision to cancel The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, calling it a win and slamming Colbert's talent and ratings in one brutal swipe. Stephen Colbert, never one to hold back, fired back at Trump during his Monday night monologue with a bleeped-out, biting message, "Go F yourself." The late-night host mocked Trump's post live on air, turning into an eloquence cam before delivering the jab to thunderous cheers from the studio audience. Colbert joked that there's room for only one martyr in late night and vowed to spend his final 10 months on air speaking the unvarnished truth about Trump. A surprise show of solidarity lit up Monday night as Jimmy Fallon, Seth Meyers, John Oliver, Jon Stewart and Andy Cohen showed up to support Colbert. The moment turned emotional and comedic, with the hosts joining a Coldplay spoof segment that ended with cheers, laughter and an unmistakable sense of unity. Colbert also poked fun at Paramount's financial reasoning for cancelling the show, saying their musical segment was axed due to a purely financial decision. With Colbert's finale set for May 2026 and Trump taking aim at his rivals, the battle between politics and late-night comedy is heating up like never before. Bureau Report, NewsX World.
After months of fan speculation, director James Gunn has finally opened up about replacing Henry Cavill as Superman, calling it a total bummer and a tough call for the DC universe. But Gunn says he always planned to cast a new Man of Steel, and David Corenswet seems to be soaring. Here's the full story. Let's dive into the full details.
Director James Gunn has broken his silence on replacing Henry Cavill as Superman, calling the situation really unfair and a total bummer for the former DC star. Speaking on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast, Gunn revealed that Cavill's return was prematurely announced even though plans for a reboot were already underway. Gunn said he and producer Peter Safran chose to sit down with Cavill personally, describing the actor as a complete gentleman during the difficult conversation. Gunn stressed that parts of the studio tried to force their own DC vision, causing confusion, but confirmed he always planned to cast a new Superman. While Cavill is no longer in the Cape, Gunn hinted he may return to the DC universe in a different role in future films. Meanwhile, David Corenswet's debut as the new Man of Steel in Gunn's Superman is drawing praise from fans and critics alike. Former Superman actor Brandon Routh called Corenswet fantastic in the role, revealing he cried no less than 3 times while watching the film. Routh said the emotional weight of Corenswet's performance, especially in scenes with Lois Lane, left a lasting impression on him. Routh urged fans to support the reboot in theatres, posting a heartfelt message of love to Gunn and the new cast on Instagram. With box office numbers already crossing $400 million worldwide, Superman is flying high, marking a bold new chapter in the DC universe. Bureau Reports, NewsX World.
Now we are joined by Joshua Barnes. He's the anchor and correspondent at NewsX World. Joshua, what more can you tell us about this exciting reboot of Man of Steel?
Suma, this reboot has gained popularity online, but also at the box office. We have seen good domestic figures in the United States. Opening weekend and opening week, $125 million for Superman 2025. The reboot, of course, with a new actor at the helm playing Clark Kent, alongside, of course, a love story with Lois Lane. Fans online liking this movie as well. Internet Movie Database scoring it at a 7.6. That, of course, is from fans. Also, Rotten Tomatoes putting it in the 80s in terms of percent, 84% currently. But the film hasn't done as well abroad as it has in America. There is some support waning in other countries. This, of course, a huge release worldwide. We see this often with superhero movies, fanfare across the globe, pushing forward real core fan base for superhero movies. And of course, Superman for DC is one of their flagship films. Clark Kent is a character who was run through from comics and also movie adaptations of those comics for over 50 years, long over 50 years. And this, of course, is a new point, a turning point for DC after Henry Cavill was Superman, the British actor coming through television, starring in several films. Of course, the previous Man of Steel, then updated, and it is now a new actor. There were some question marks raised over that change. The Man of Steel films with Henry Cavill weren't received as well as this film has, so potentially that move to change the leading actor was a positive one. But it is interesting to hear those comments from the director on this podcast, of course talking about a difficult conversation that had to be had with Henry Cavill, potential sort of speculation mounting that Henry Cavill would continue in the role, the director clearly stating that wasn't the case, and somebody new, David Corenswet, would take over as the man in the cape, Superman. So questions, of course, have been had about those conversations, but it's been put to bed in this podcast. Clear comments there saying that Cavill is a gentleman, and he's somebody, of course, who dealt with this professionally. Whether there are further questions behind the scenes, of course, for Cavill, the role of Superman, a hugely notorious role. We've seen other actors in the past play superheroes and be sort of catapulted into the stratosphere of Hollywood. You think of Robert Downey Jr. with his role as Iron Man, really catapulting his career and turning it round. You also think of previous actors within DC and Marvel. Got somebody like Hugh Jackman, of course, as Wolverine. That really catapulted his career. Spider-Man as well. These movies are a staple in many people's lives. Everyone a fan of Marvel is always looking out for who the next hero will be, or the villain in certain cases. But this is a situation which happens in Hollywood. Actors get changed, sometimes in the same franchise between movies. Characters get changed. If you think of Batman, in the Batman Begins series, there was a change to the characters there in that movie as well. So it's common, but it's been dealt with clearly behind the scenes, and now these public comments showing that it was an amicable split from Henry Cavill, and it seems that the audiences